No one expected this clash to happen so quickly, although fans had been speculating for weeks about a possible showdown in the ring. But just hours after a heated exchange in the media, things escalated fast. Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez ended up in a surprise face-off, right at the airport. It all started a few days earlier. Coming off his win against Madoff, Crawford, who's always been open about wanting to fight Canelo, jumped on an Instagram Live. And during that live session, he didn't hold back. He openly challenged Canelo, turning up the heat and making it clear he wanted the fight.
Canelo next.
Yes.
Let's
go. Canelo, come on.
You heard it from him?
We are ready.
Yeah. Just put me in the game, coach. Just put me in the game. Canelo Crawford, the biggest fight.
Since then, Crawford has kept the pressure on, constantly bringing up the fight and accusing Canelo of dodging him. He even called Canelo a duck for not seriously engaging in talks to make the match happen. A fight many believe could be one of the biggest boxing events in years. Following Edgar Berlanga's latest bout, Canelo was asked during a post-fight interview about Crawford's challenge. His response? A cold and dismissive, no comment, showing little interest in addressing it at all.
On the internet with Turkey Al-Sheikh calling you out. What's your response to Terence Crawford's call out tonight?
No comment.
But when pressed further, Canelo finally spoke up. He firmly shut down Crawford's challenge, saying the welterweight champ was too small and would be an easy fight. Canelo made it clear he didn't see Crawford as a serious opponent, hinting that facing him wouldn't be worth the effort.
If I'm easy work, I heard him say I'm easy work. If I was easy work, well, you know, you would take all that money that he's offering you. But yet and still, he want $200 million for Benavidez, and he want $150 million to fight me. So that just lets me know right there that I'm a threat to him. I'm a threat to him.
That should have been the end of it. But for Crawford, it was just the breaking point. Things escalated quickly when the two unexpectedly crossed paths at an airport terminal. Both had their teams by their sides, but neither seemed willing to step back, especially Crawford. Still fired up over Canelo's "too easy" comment, Crawford reportedly walked straight up to him and confronted him face to face. Within moments, the tension boiled over, and things nearly turned physical.
Canelo fight, realistically left your mind once he said he's not interested, or you're still pursuing it?
Not at all. I think business talk.
What makes all of this even more surprising is that not too long ago, Crawford had actually shown respect for Canelo. During Canelo's recent fight against Berlanga, he once again proved why he's considered one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world. He knocked Berlanga down early and dominated most of the match, even though Berlanga showed grit and kept pushing. As expected, Canelo's performance reminded everyone that he's still the top name in the super middleweight division. Watching from the sidelines, Crawford openly acknowledged the Mexican star's talent and skill. I first watched the Canelo-Berlanga fight, then headed to a UFC event, Crawford shared when asked about Canelo's performance. Canelo did exactly what he always does. He fought great. Berlanga also showed a lot of heart and determination. It was an exciting fight to watch. Crawford's words showed real respect for both fighters, but they also revealed how much he wants to face Canelo next. Now competing at super welterweight, Crawford is focused on making that fight happen. He's determined and says he won't stop pushing until it does. Moving up 2 weight classes won't bother him. For Crawford, beating Canelo is about making his mark and securing his place among boxing's greats.
At the end of the day, they're 2 great pound-for-pound fighters, and if they feel like, it makes sense and they want to fight each other, stylistically, it's a great fight. But, Canelo, he's a big dude. So I think it'd be hard for anyone to beat him at 168. But, it's definitely a big money fight, and that's why we're all in boxing, to make the biggest fights and try.
Crawford's win over Israil Madrimov was his first fight to go the full distance in 8 years, leading some experts to question if his power is weakening as he moves up in weight. Madrimov, a tough and strong opponent, challenged Crawford throughout, making it a close match. While Crawford's power remains a major asset, the real question is how it will hold up against someone like Canelo, who's proven time and again that he can absorb boxing's toughest punches.
Power of Jamel Charlo couldn't phase Canelo Alvarez. The power of Jaime Munguia couldn't phase Canelo Alvarez. The power of Triple G couldn't phase Canelo Alvarez. The power of Kovalev couldn't phase Canelo Alvarez. The power of Berlanga couldn't phase Canelo Alvarez. The power of Daniel Jacobs couldn't phase Canelo Alvarez. The power of Caleb Plant couldn't phase Canelo Alvarez. ¿Qué Buck Crawford le va a hacer a ese tigre? Ustedes no vieron Buck Crawford versus Mastromov. What power did Buck Crawford have? Put me in the game, coach. No, you're the 15th man in the roster. You will sit in the bench. Well, you got...
Despite the doubts, Crawford stays confident. In that same interview, he made it clear that he still wants the fight with Canelo. He believes it's the matchup fans are waiting for. "I've been chasing this fight," Crawford said. "It's about legacy. The biggest fight happening in boxing right now. Two of the top 3 pound-for-pound fighters going head-to-head. It would be massive."
I feel like this fight right here is like the last of the Mohicans. You know, we both coming in an era where Floyd Mayweather was #1 pound-for-pound, Showtime, and HBO era, that type of era. So I think this fight will be massive.
Crawford's confidence shines when he talks about facing Canelo. He knows Canelo is bigger, but that doesn't intimidate him, it motivates him. For Crawford, boxing is about taking on the toughest challengers and testing yourself against the best. "I know Canelo is bigger than me, but I'm ready for the challenge," he said. "It's all respect. If he steps into the ring with me, it would be an exciting fight. And I'm confident. I believe I can beat anyone I face." Crawford's strong career record backs up his confidence, but a fight with Canelo would be a completely different challenge. Canelo is known for his power, smart boxing skills, and experience, having beaten top fighters in several weight classes. Facing Crawford, who has dominated the lighter divisions, would mean a clash of different styles and strengths. So far, Canelo hasn't chosen his next opponent. After his fight with Berlanga, he said he plans to take some time off with his family before deciding. This leaves the possibility open for many fights, including a potential matchup with Crawford.
Terrence, any chance your kids become UFC champions?
No.
Why not?
They don't pay you enough.
Things are only getting more intense. While Berlanga earned some respect for lasting the full fight, for Canelo Alvarez, it was another night where his power stood out. Even though he didn't get the knockout fans expected, this marked the 4th fight in a row where Canelo knocked his opponent down, but won by decision instead. With a legacy as big as Canelo's, this pattern might raise some eyebrows, but he doesn't seem to care. "What else can they say?" Canelo said after the fight, clearly frustrated with the ongoing criticism despite his success. "I fight younger fighters. They complain. I fight older fighters. They talk. My experience, talent, hard work, and smarts, that's what makes me the best." No matter how many wins he adds, it seems the doubters won't quiet down. But maybe it's not just about what he's done so far. It's about what he still has to prove. Critics' concerns are hard to ignore. Since his loss to Dimitri Bivol in May 2022, Canelo has faced opponents who, while skilled, aren't quite at his level. He was a huge favorite, minus 1,600 against Berlanga, and many say boxing's biggest star needs a real challenge to bring excitement and risk back into his career. That's where Terence Crawford comes in. Crawford sees himself as the next big threat to Canelo. Known for his precision, speed, and smart ring strategy, Crawford compared moving up to fight Canelo to the famous 1983 bout between Marvin Hagler and Roberto Duran. But this time, the smaller fighter comes out on top. Before talks about Crawford versus Canelo get serious, though, another big fight is on the horizon for Canelo. a possible rematch with Dmitry Bivol. Bivol, who outperformed Canelo in their first match despite close scorecards, will face Artur Beterbiev for the undisputed light heavyweight title. If Bivol wins, Canelo is ready to face him again, aiming for redemption and the chance to become undisputed champion in a second weight class. This is where things really start to get intense. Canelo, who never backs down from a challenge, is motivated by the memory of his loss to Bivol. "Nothing went right for me in that fight," Canelo said, referring to a left wrist injury that required surgery after his third match with Gennady Golovkin in September 2022. The thought of Canelo coming back fully healthy to face Bivol again is exciting, but also risky, since Bivol proved just how tough he is in their first fight. During that match, Canelo had his chances but didn't take them. Now the big question is who he will fight next. Crawford said, "I don't know if Canelo wants to fight me, but I'm not ready for anyone else. If Canelo gets a rematch, he might be the underdog this time." Bivol is already a slight favorite against Artur Beterbiev, a fighter known for his 100% knockout record and feared by many. "He has the skills to beat Beterbiev," Canelo said, making it clear he only wants to face Bivol, not Beterbiev. If Bivol loses in October, the chance for a rematch with Canelo could vanish. Even if Bivol wins, Canelo still faces the challenge of moving up in weight to make it happen.
Canelo had the options for rematch. He didn't use it. He gonna fight again against someone not for me. I don't know if he wants to fight me or not, but I'm not ready.
Canelo wants the rematch at 175 pounds, the same weight class where Bivol beat him before. But Bivol, confident after proving himself at light heavyweight, prefers a rematch at 168 pounds, where Canelo holds the undisputed super middleweight title. This difference in weight matters a lot. It might seem small to casual fans, but for fighters at this level, even a few pounds can change everything. Canelo has one big advantage. He offers the biggest payday Bivol could get, which might convince the Russian champion to agree to a rematch on Canelo's terms. Meanwhile, another name keeps coming up: David Benavidez. The young, hungry Mexican-American has been pushing hard for a fight with Canelo, calling him out repeatedly to make it happen. But even after Benavidez's strong fight against Alexander Gzik, despite fighting with a hand injury, Canelo doesn't seem interested. "He's fighting in my weight class, 175, and he doesn't look like he always does because it's different when you fight in your own weight class," Canelo said, brushing off the idea. For now, it seems the door is closed on a Canelo-Benavidez matchup. But there's still one wild card: Crawford. The 37-year-old former undisputed welterweight champion recently moved up to 154 pounds, narrowly winning a decision against Ismail Madoff, a tricky and underrated fighter. Though he wasn't dominant, Crawford remains confident and has set his sights on Canelo as his next big test. The weight difference is a concern. Crawford has never fought above 154 pounds, while Canelo has competed at 168 or higher for years. Crawford isn't worried about the size difference. "Being bigger doesn't win fights," he said, a mindset that has defined his career, where he's often beaten the odds. A fight between Canelo and Crawford would be huge, possibly the biggest non-heavyweight matchup in boxing right now. Fans are excited to see these two top fighters face off. Although smaller, Crawford believes this fight is key to his legacy, and that he can win. "I feel like it's a legacy fight, and I feel like I can actually win," he said confidently. His record supports that belief. Moving up 2 weight classes to take on Canelo would shake up the boxing world. For Canelo, fighting Crawford is interesting since he's a proven star. But as Canelo said, "If I beat him, no one's going to say, 'Oh, he beat Crawford,' because Canelo's a good fighter, pound for pound great too, but he's smaller." Now, Canelo's motivation isn't just about legacy, it's about the money, the excitement, and maybe one last big moment in his career. "If the money's right, why not at this moment in my career?" Canelo said, knowing that fights have to make sense both financially and competitively. Crawford admits that if the fight happens, the biggest challenges will be Canelo's power and size. But he's not scared, confident his reach and speed will level the playing field. Still, Canelo's growing irritation with the constant questions about this fight suggests he might be tired of Crawford's relentless push. The Mexican star has already set his price, a huge $150 million. Crawford isn't backing down, even though the chances of this fight happening seem slim. Canelo's message is clear, that $150 million shows how much he values himself, and that he won't agree unless the deal is right. Canelo is at the top of his game, with an impressive record and power that makes him a tough opponent for anyone, especially someone smaller like Crawford. Crawford's belief that he only needs to worry about Canelo's size and power seems too simple, ignoring the many other challenges Canelo brings to the ring. Canelo has beaten confident fighters before, and while Crawford's speed and reach might help, Canelo's smart tactics and ability to adapt during a fight are likely stronger. Crawford's confidence comes from his flawless record: 41 wins, no losses, and 31 knockouts. He has proven he belongs with the best and isn't afraid to face bigger opponents. He's fought larger fighters before and says that experience prepares him for Canelo. But many fans and experts believe Crawford might be aiming a bit too high this time. Canelo isn't just bigger. He combines power, skill, and experience that could give Crawford real problems. But Crawford is determined to make this fight happen. Canelo has faced criticism for chasing a huge payday before retirement. Some say it's an easy choice, especially since there are top fighters at 154 and 147 pounds he could face instead. Critics also say Crawford might be looking for a quick way to a big paycheck, and it's hard to argue with that. The money would be huge, and for a fighter near the end of his career, wanting a big financial reward makes sense. Still, fans are getting tired of Crawford pushing so hard for a fight that might never happen. Despite all the talk, Crawford believes this matchup would be huge. Two of the world's best pound-for-pound fighters facing off. On paper it sounds thrilling. The smaller, quicker Crawford against the bigger, stronger Canelo. A classic David versus Goliath story boxing fans love. But many feel this fight is more about the show than the sport. The real question is, does Crawford truly believe he can beat Canelo, or is this just about landing one last big payday? For Canelo, fighting Crawford might feel like a step down. He's already beaten top opponents and built a huge legacy. Canelo usually seeks challenges, moving up in weight or facing tough fighters like Bivol or Caleb Plant. Facing Crawford, who's smaller, might seem unfair, and even a win might not add much to his legacy. What do you think? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates. See you next time.